Shalom, Israel. It's your girl Aviela coming to you right now, speaking to you about the things that is going on today. I've been in a bit of a hiatus with so many things going on with the coronavirus and everything like that. Those things have kind of had me kind of in and kind of preoccupied as of right now. But I'm just going to jump right in and talk about some of the things that are going on today that I'm pretty sure we all are watching. We all are watching the Most High at work. We're watching the Father do His thing. We're watching the Word unfold before our eyes. And we all are probably feeling a little bit apprehensive and also excited. I know me personally, I'm feeling very excited, but also in this current situation, very saddened by the loss of our dear brother, Mr. Floyd, and also our other fallen dear brothers and sisters, as Miss Taylor, Miss Breonna Taylor, Mr. Ahmaud Arbery, and some countless others that we'll be talking about today. So I'm just going to jump right on into it with you guys. I hope everybody is doing well. And I hope that everybody is feeling okay and is getting through this whole situation with the coronavirus and also with the protests and everything that's going on. There's a couple of articles that I have here in regards to things that you may or may not know about, but I just kind of want to make you aware and about what's going on other than just in the America in regards to the protest. I had a question about what people are thinking about the protest. I wonder how everybody feels about it and what people are really thinking about it. I know some people are saying, it's a setup and we shouldn't trust it. And there's some rabble rousers in there that's kind of causing trouble, making it bigger than what it should be and things of that nature. But I actually beg to differ. I'm kind of like on the fence about it. When I say that, I mean, I think there are some people that's in there starting things. I've seen the videos of men kind of going through, busting out windows and setting fires and things like that. But I also am a firm believer that all things works out together for the Most High's good. Though they are there to disrupt and make quote unquote peaceful protests unpeaceful, and it very well could be a quote unquote trap. It also could be something that is going to work out for the greater good. I'm a firm believer in that. The devil can, he can set something up. Hasatan can set something up for failure, what seems like failure, kind of a trap, if you will. But the Most High always has a backup plan. Even he has a plan within a plan within a plan. And we may not know it or see what it is until it's actually done. So they may be in there very well, causing extreme mayhem and making things worse. But on the flip side of them making things worse, quote unquote, people are understanding language now. When we went down on the knee, they couldn't understand that, right? They couldn't understand that. The going down on the knee, they couldn't understand. Having a meeting, trying to have a meeting of the minds, if you will, they don't understand that. All you just need to be quiet. Money and being comfortable is what they understand. See, these folks are burning down, looting, rioting, whoever they are, be it the regular everyday folk or somebody who's infiltrating the protesting. They're still going into neighborhoods and communities, and they are disrupting some people, some specific folks' everyday living and their comfortableness. If a person is going in to burn down your local restaurant where you go and eat and ignore what's going on with black folk and your malls and tearing up your neighborhoods, now you have to pay attention to what's going on. Now you have to see us. You cannot ignore us. You can't just go to the mall and be just amongst yourselves. Go to your nice little farmer's market in your friendly neighborhood. You can't just go out to eat and have a sit down and just never mind them. Never mind them kneeling. Never mind what they want. Now you have no other choice but to hear and see what's going on. You don't have a choice now. You have to listen. So for me, what's happening is something that is very relevant and something that is the only thing I think they understand. These are the only things that I believe they understand. Money, when their money is being affected. That's the only thing, that's the only language that they know. In other words, if it doesn't affect their lives, it doesn't affect them. But them being comfortable is affecting them. That's why I'm reading the comments, and there's a lot of comments and they're saying things like, oh my God, how could you be doing this to the business owners and, you know, the Target and whatever. Okay, let's be real. Let's go ahead and keep this thing all the way 100 is real. We don't own none of that. We do not own none of that. And I've seen a couple of folks go off on our people for doing that. Our skin folk going off on other skin folk in regards to that. We shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do that. I don't believe that they should be saying that. I think that they should have a back seat and just be quiet. I think that Israel on all levels should just sit back. That stuff does not belong to us. Those are their trinkets of this world. Those are the things that make them comfortable. Make it easy for them to turn a blind eye and ignore us. As long as they're comfortable watching their little movies, eating their little stuff, going to their little malls, they could give 2 cents. They can care 2 cents whether we are being killed, gunned down in our beds, strangled, choked to death, knees on our back, necks, or whatever. They can give 2 cents about that. Only now are they required, almost as if they are forced to open up your eyes and look. Now you have no choice but to see. And still, even in the comments, all I'm seeing and hearing and on the news is, oh my God, what's wrong with them? They burning down business. Why would they do that? They still care about the business more than they care about your life. They still care about the financial situation more than they care about your life. You don't never see them going, oh my God, how could they kill someone this way? Maybe in this situation because it was so blatant that you couldn't ignore it. But in the other situations that's going on, oh, they can gloss over that. And I really firmly believe the only reason why they are doing this with that is because it's so in your face. It's so in your face. And the character of this man was obviously he seemed to be a gentleman. I don't know him personally, but he just seemed to have come across as like a gentle, fair man. He could have been done anything. I really don't care if he ever did anything that was not right. His life still did not need to be taken in such a manner. None of their lives need to be taken in such a manner. And the only reason that they're even saying anything is what my belief is because it's just too blatant. And even when they're saying something at the same time, they're saying something, but as these protests or whatever begin to continue, you can kind of see them going, I was okay until they started doing that. So you're still really not, team us when your money comes into play. They're definitely not on no ride or die type of stuff. Not when it comes to their money. I was okay until you started, messing up my neighborhood where I can go sit down and forget that you exist. This being the burning and the stores being on fire and being looted or whatever, it's in your face and you can't ignore it. And some of them, I feel, are just losing it because of it. They really don't know what they're going to do, but they really don't know how to respond either. Because, we just had the coronavirus, which affected the economy in a big way. Now, not only did people not have a job to go back to, possibly, you really might not have a job to go back to when this is over with. You things that really might be in really bad shape due to this as well. Which is really, I mean, for me, it feels like if it can stop this from happening again. I think that's what people are trying to come across. I think that's the message that people are trying to convey. You won't forget this. The next time a officer or whoever or hood vigilantes, whatever you want to call them, hooded, unhooded vigilantes, decide they want to ride out and hunt folk down, I think they're going to think about this event, this moment before they do it. I think that nobody wants this to continue. And people are pretty much saying, hey, if you continue to do this, this is what's going to happen. Every time you do this, we're going to burn all this shit down again. We're going to burn it all down. Every single time you do it. That's the message that I think that people are saying. If you do not stop this, who wants to keep rebuilding? Even though me being an Israelite, I understand that its place is finished. But I'm saying all this for the sake of people who are holding on to this place tooth and nail for however long it's going to be here. I know they're thinking, I don't want to continue to build and build and build. They love this place so much. They covet America so much. They don't even realize this is a burning house. This house is officially burning. They continue to think they can continue to rebuild it. Most High already said they will build, but I will tear it down. But again, I digress. This is for the folk who are holding on with a kung fu grip to America, thinking that this is what it's going to be. They're going to somehow be able to fight this, even though we obviously all can see these are unprecedented times. These are times we have never lived in, at least in my lifetime. My parents' lifetime, I don't think they've ever seen anything so, open and just very different. The waters are changing, the air is changing, the atmosphere is just moving. And if you don't know anything about the Most High, you still know that something is going on. But again, I digress. So there's some other things I want to talk about to the Israelites. There's some things that are going on some things that are going on with our brothers and sisters in other parts of the world and from other parts of the world. We know that we were scattered all over during the Atlantic slave trade, specifically in South America. That's something I want to talk about. I'm going to read a little bit of an article from VOA News as of today about some African Brazilians, Black Brazilians. And of course, they treat them the same way they treat us here. We're talking about Black, Brazilians. We're not talking about those European Brazilians. We know that the camps have really messed folk up with that whole Hispanic, Latino is the tribes. No, I'm talking about Afro-Latinos and Black Brazilians who are being treated just the same. Apparently someone was killed over there during the protest as well. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this article. It says hundreds of demonstrators converged on the square in front of the Rio de Janeiro state government palace Sunday. Protesting crimes committed by the police against Black people in the Brazilian city's poor neighborhoods known as favelas. I hope I'm saying that right. For all my Hispanic brothers out there, brothers and sisters, my Afro-Latinos, I hope I'm saying that right. Okay, protesters chanted, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe," in reference to George Floyd, the Black man who died while in police custody in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are here today because we want to live. We are here today because we are tired of this genocidal state. We are here to say no more, activist Santiago said. Protesters were holding signs, reading in Portuguese, "Stop killing us," and favelas ask for peace. As recently as May 18th, a 14-year-old black boy was killed during a federal police operation in the Complexo Sagrado favelas. The teenager, Joel Pedro Pinto, was at home with cousins when police broke into his house, allegedly pursuing drug traffickers, and shot him dead. The protest in Rio de Janeiro, called Black Lives Matter, was interrupted when police used tear gas to disperse people. Um, that was the highest number since 1998, and they were going on to talk about it a little bit more. So, as you can see, also in other places, the protests are gathering and getting big, and they're pursuing Israel even in those places. That's really sad to hear that a young child was here. Now I see a picture of a child or a person being killed laying on the street, but I probably won't show that because I just don't want to continue to traumatize us over and over again with these pictures and videos of us just laying on the ground, bleeding and choking. I'm gonna tell you, I cried so hard with the video that came out. I watched it all the way through, but I'm gonna go ahead on and tell you guys, it's just traumatizing. I know the Most High is tired, and we're tired, and everything like that. And I know that we do have to believe in the Most High and just depend on Him. But this, I just don't want to see anymore. Just on the ground, bleeding and can't breathe, and just it is quite taxing and heartbreaking for a mother of boys, for a mother of sons. It's a terrifying thought. And at this point, just a Israelite mother, period. Israelite father, period. Us as parents, we have this ability to just soak it all up and just try to protect. But the vulnerable feeling of not being able to do that, it's just the terrifying that we feel. That's the terror that we feel. We shouldn't feel that way. I pray for strength and fear, and I try to instill knowledge into my kids so that they can understand. But it's a small portion, and there's a portion period. I'm not sure for each person how big or how small, but you still have that sense of Most High, hurry up. I feel that sense of urgency because you want your children to feel free. As a parent, even if you can't feel that way, you want them to feel that way. That's the thought of them not being able to operate in freedom. So, I'm going to make a video on whether we should leave or not. Not in running of fear, but it's just going to be for another day. But I'm definitely going to be talking about, people who want to leave America. Should black folks leave America? Should they move to Africa? Should they leave the America or America, South, North America? Should they leave these places and go to their origin? Should they do it? If, the door comes open to do this or that, should we continue to stay here? Should we try to continue to rebuild here? What people say. Well, we can make it better. Some people say they want to stay. They want to make it better. They want to, I don't know what they're thinking about, but I'm going to let them go ahead and think they can try. I'm not sure why people believe they can change the content of a man's character. The spirit of a man or a woman is who they are. And only they can change it. They can move somewhere or they can do something, and the spirit of that person is still there until they cast it out and do something different. On a spiritual note, changing Republican or Democrat and whatever, moving to another side of the town, that's not going to work. So even in this revolution, this huge change that is going on right now, even in the midst of this, let's just say, for example, just this happens to work temporarily. People just stop, the violence and they come up with these laws that actually throw people in jail and really give people real good time for, racist comments and racist acts. And they really stick to it and try to make this thing work. You're still going to have people out there. You're still going to have people out there that's not going to go with that. This is predominantly their world over here. They're still in control. If they still remain in control and everything like that. You're still going to have people that are going to do what? Kick against the bricks. They're not going to be satisfied with that. So they're going to do what they did back in the days. Back in the days when they said we were free. I can't remember if it's the 1800s, 1868 or whatever, 1867. And they said we were free. People didn't like that. So they still tried to imprison us. Some people didn't even tell their slaves that they were free. They still made them work. Back in 1960 something, during the God, what was that? You know what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about. Whenever, God, why can't I think of the name of it? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. The integration and everything. They still didn't like it. They still wouldn't allow you in the places and in the spaces that they were supposed to legally allow you to be in, because this is in someone's heart. That's the point that I'm trying to make. This is embedded in the spirit of a man or a woman. And they still made it hard for you. So I heard a person say, I was listening to something on YouTube, and there was a young man in the protest, and he was just kind of videotaping what was going on. He said, well, he wanted to encourage black people to get bullets and, bulletproof vests. And it just something just kind of honed in on my spirit and said, why in the Most High Yah, why on Yah's green earth would I want to live like this? Where I've got to get bulletproof vests and bullets just to live. Why would I want to do that? Why on Yah's green earth would I want to live? That is the most unpeaceful and fearful way to live. He was saying, I get what he was saying. He was saying that it's good to, be ready if anything happens, and, we need to start training our people and our children. I'm like, but why should we have to go through military training, train our kids to be military, be like this? Why can't we just go in a place? We get our money, once the Most High, help us get our money, and we get out of here. Instead of fighting for a place that does not want you, that requires you to wear a bulletproof vest to go to Food Line, to go take a walk, to jog, to sleep, to do whatever your every mundane task are. That is not what the Most High called us to live in. That is not peace. I'm just saying. I mean, I get what some people are saying. Maybe they haven't thought that through thoroughly. They haven't thought that through, as much as they should. But I'm just saying, this is just getting to a point now where it's just, that's not peaceful to me. I would rather, pray and ask for the Most High to open up whatever doors he needs to open up for me and my family. And we just get out of here. Get us a place, go do what we got to do and, live peacefully. Don't have to worry about nobody mistakenly shooting us while we sleep. We don't have to worry about just if you want to go for a walk or if you want to go for whatever, a jog or whatever, we don't have to be hunted. People are going to leave you alone. And you don't have to worry about wearing a vest. You don't have to worry about how many bullets you got. You don't have to be thinking about that type of stuff, because the Most High called us to live in peace. He didn't call us to have to be, vigilant. Now, that's just not peaceful. And just constantly trying to work on other people's hearts. Well, if we just do this and then they'll do that. No, this is a heart condition. They're not going to do that. It took them how many days to put these obviously guilty people, this obviously guilty man, to arrest this man who was obviously guilty, who was blatantly guilty, and then they're going to hit him with the lowest charges possible so that he could possibly get off. So this is a heart condition. They're fighting for their supremacy tooth and nail. They're not trying to give it up. They don't want to give up white supremacy. That's why it took them so long. Because in their mind, if I go ahead and give in now to this, then I'll be giving in to everything else in the future. If I give this to them now, just go ahead and I'm going to treat this man, this white man, like a black person. They're going to really think they're equal. They're going to really feel like, we should really be going to jail like they are. That puts you and a Caucasian person at the equal footing. If a black person kills somebody, first degree or second degree murder, it don't take but a couple hours, probably a couple minutes for them to be locked up. Whatever, But if this Caucasian male, this white man get locked, they have to drag their feet because they don't want it they don't want it looking like you guys are equal. They're holding on to that white supremacy tooth and nail. They don't want you feeling like, okay, we're just going to get out here and just because you're tearing up the city. They let the city burn for days and just go through before they even did that. They had to try to come up with a strategy because they were still holding on to their white supremacy. And they don't realize that they're losing their own cities and states. They're losing more money trying to hold on to this supreme state of being that doesn't exist. That doesn't really exist. Was temporarily given. The time is up. You have to, everybody has their turn. They know the way the story ends the way we do. Just like our ancestors knew what time it was when they were going. When they got on the boats, they knew. They knew what they had done. They knew what the Most High had already said. And they knew that they had to do it. They had to. Some didn't. Some just said they just weren't going to do it, and they jumped off the boats or whatever they did. But some knew what time it was. They knew that they were serving their sentence now. And that, this was something that was the Most High was going to, you were going to go through it, or you just, it is what it is. And these people are still trying to hold on to their supremacy because they just don't want to let go of the end. It is the end for you. You do not get the luxury of free labor anymore. Your reign is over, but it doesn't have to be like the end of your life. It just means that you won't be on top. But for some of them, it may feel like the end. Some people, if I can't be on top, if I can't be over somebody, then it's the end. So that's a real unfortunate thing, But anyway, there's also another interesting article that I ran across from a newspaper called The Voice. I think this newspaper is from the Gambia, which is in the motherland. For a young man who had moved, he's from the Gambia and he had moved to Georgia, and there will be a protest. So I'm going to go ahead and read. There will be a protest for him. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast. Apparently he was killed by Georgia police. And so there'll be a protest on June the 8th for him in the Gambia U.S. Embassy. So I'm just going to read a little bit and let you guys know what's going on. So the leading human rights activist in the Gambia, Mahdi Jabera, and I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right. Please, my Gambian brothers and sisters, don't get me, has said that Gambians will Monday, June the 1st, apply for a permit to the Inspector General of Police to provide security for a peaceful assembly in front of the U.S. Embassy in Gambia. Jabera said, "We are going to request for a police permit to embark on a peaceful protest in front of the U.S. Embassy to submit a petition to the U.S. ambassador. We want to demand that the U.S. government enforce its own constitution, uphold its own Declaration of Independence of 1776, and implement its entire Civil Rights Act to protect the lives and dignity of Black people. We demand that the U.S. government investigates the murder of Mabdua Layman Sensei. And again, I'm very sorry to my Gambian brothers and sisters. I'm not good with this. A Gambian and Americans, George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and all other victims of police brutality, and hold all those officers responsible accountable. Above all, we demand the U.S. government to immediately put a complete end to institutionalized racism against African Americans in all spheres of life and society. Jabbar said in a statement received on Sunday. He disclosed that the protest is planned for Monday, June the 8th at 10 a.m. We will converge in silence. We will stand on one knee like Colin Kaepernick to symbolize our mourning and condemnation of the acts of violence meted out to the blacks in the U.S. by the police. By 10:30 a.m., we will hand over a signed petition to the ambassador and then peaceably disperse. We will ensure social distancing, and we will urge all to donate and bring face masks, water buckets, and soap, and hand sanitizers in respect of the state of emergency regulations. He further disclosed, according to him, after 244 years of the U.S. Declaration of Independence, in which U.S. founding fathers declared that all human beings are created equal and endowed with the inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the fact remains that African Americans are not treated as such. He also said, looking into the social, economic, and political indicators in terms of access to power, leadership, resources, wealth, education, healthcare, housing, and voice, and you will find black people are disproportionately lower than whites. Therefore, as Africans on the continent, we are going to protect this unfair, unjust, illegal, and oppressive treatment of our Keith. I want to say it's spelled K-I-T-H, and I'm not sure what that means yet, and kin in America. And it is high time that each and every African in the continent of Africa makes the issue of America a personal and a national issue. Not just because African Americans are our blood kin, but also because we have millions of fellow Africans living in the United States. And they have not been spared, as we have seen in the murder of Mabdou Layman Sensei a few days ago, as well as the murder of Amadou Diallo from Guinea in New York in 1999, just to mention a few. I'm sorry. He recalled that it was a white people from Europe and America who got up on their own to come to Africa hundreds of years ago to forcibly kidnap our ancestors and then carry them into slavery in the Americas against their will. And then it goes on to say a couple of other things. And at the end it says, and I'm going to leave the link to the article at the bottom, it says, even the promise of 40 acres and a mule that the U.S. government said it would give to each and every black person since 1865, the U.S. government has failed to fulfill that promise even until today, he said. This is interesting. Now, this article I found quite interesting. Now, I found it interesting because I thought about a particular Bible scripture. Just seemed like it came to my mind. And hold on one second. So I'm gonna go ahead and it just reminds me of, now you have a Gambian who could possibly be an Israelite, we know, right? We don't know, but could be. And Isaiah 11:13-15 came to my mind. The envy of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. So now we're starting to see a union between Africa and African Americans, in the diaspora. Is Ephraim, who's representative of those other 10 tribes, that are in Africa, are they now starting to kind of come to our aid, or what's going on? I thought about it. Are we now not mad at each other? Because, at one time people said we didn't like each other, or we possibly didn't. We thought that bad things about each other. It's starting to look like, that's just what came to my spirit. I have no idea. But that Isaiah, Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. It seems like, is this us of the diasporians and the people on the continent, the other tribes? Are we coming together now? Are we not vexing each other anymore? Are we not against each other anymore? And never mind that old, like I said before, that old fake chart that people are talking about who Ephraim is. No, we know that ain't it. We all know that ain't it by now. And if folks are still in that, hopefully you'll get out of it. If you haven't, got off that milk and you're still in that, mindset of the chart being real. I'm just saying, for the rest of you guys, what do you guys think is going on? Is this Isaiah 11:13 coming to life right before our eyes, where our brothers and sisters on the continent, is this Ephraim? Is this the other tribes kind of coming out? You now see an outpour from the continent coming to our aid. I've never seen anything like this before. They've never said anything about what was going on with us. I feel like that curse is really lifted. There's a really coming to our aid. Like, hey, wait a minute. And what would be really even more awesome, you guys? If, first of all, we do get that, get what the Most High promised. And then they just make it like an automatic citizenship, like, or whatever. Oh, that would be so great. I would be on the first train smoking. I don't know about y'all, but I don't feel that there's nothing else left for us here. Some people feel like they can stay and make it better. That's fine. You can go right on ahead. I don't feel like it's nothing for me and mine here. I think that we have exhausted all opportunities, as far as I'm concerned, all ways to make it right. I mean, we've done everything you could do to try to make it right through the years. I'm just talking about collectively and through the years. Nothing that we've ever done was worked. And their envy is so deep that if we get a leg up, and that we will, it's going to burn them. Being right here in their presence, it's not going to help. It's just going to make them worse as far as the envy. The envy overtakes. See, it's a spirit of jealousy, envy, and narcissism. That spirit within itself, narcissism, is a strong explanation. And I talked about it a couple of my videos before. Narcissism is a spirit. And it's drowned, it's drenched in the spirit of envy. Envy looks at another and wants what it has, even from a spiritual perspective. How are you going to change that? You get somewhere. I mean, look at what they did in Tulsa. Look at what they did. They wanted to be apart from us so bad until they found out that what they said about us wasn't true. They know that anyway. They create a narrative where we're the bad guy. They know that we're not. That's a projection. They know that they're really the bad guy. And without narcissists, and narcissists like to control. And us being on our own, separate from them, and this land, they will not allow peace. Because they have to have some kind of control. So I would suggest that anybody with brains, when it's time to go, let's go. But I know some people are just like, no, I ain't leaving. It's my land. It's my home. Okay, stay. But for the rest of us, I don't know. If y'all like me, whatever is going on, first train smoking, I'm praying to get out of here. However, let me just get out of here. I don't want to be here. They don't want us here. They letting you know every day they don't want you here. In order for them to get you to do one common, decent thing. You got to burn down a whole city to get you to do one thing that's common sense and that's filled with decency and the rules that you created. These are the laws that you wrote that you can't even live by just because of me. Why would I have to burn down a city every time or wear a bulletproof vest or, buy bullets just to be somewhere? That no in no way, shape, or form rings freedom. That rings prison and jail. A living, walking, breathing prison. But anyway, Israel, that's all I got for today. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for listening to me. And I hope you all have a blessed and wonderful day. And I'll continue to pray for you, Israel. I love you guys. Peace.